We are almost at the end of Very Cavallari. We are at the pre-finale. Kristin is on her book tour taking NYC. Mike is finally ready to propose. And the Canadian is back. He's single. He's ready to mingle. And he's here for a second date. We're going to break it down next.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Concrete jungle, bad dreams are made of. I need my Statue of Liberty costume right now. New York. My gosh, we went from Nashville to LA to Miami, back to Nashville, and now we're in New York. Kristin is on her New York book tour. We saw her with Jenny McCarthy. We saw her with Nikki Glasser. She was like, we saw her on Build. Like, she was just like tearing up the scene. She hit number 3 on New York Times. Shout out to you, Kristin Cavallari. Congrats. Shout out to Brittney. We're so grateful that you called in last week and chatted with Susan and Brittney. We love you, Brittney, and we're so grateful that you wanted to chat with us about the Very Cavallari, because we're loving this show and we love breaking it down every week. Before we get deep into this week's episode, I want to know, I'm Zack Peter, and I have my lovely ladies, my panel with me here tonight. Please introduce yourself, ladies, if they don't know you yet.
Susan Pinckney.
And I'm Brittney Semanick.
And what are your initial thoughts with tonight's episode? We had quite a lot going on. We have like a lot of like big topics. We're going to be breaking down the store opening, Kristin's New York book tour, the Canadians back. There's a potential proposal that may be happening possibly in the finale. Like, that was a lot. What were your initial thoughts, Susan?
I really liked that we had Brittney on last week live as our guest.
Yes.
And she kind of gave us an intro to her mom in her interview with us. And it was nice to be able to put all of that with what we saw on the show tonight.
Yep.
Because her mom was a little spitfire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she was. I feel like I really liked this episode because we learned a lot about everyone and we saw Kristin kind of kill it. And it wasn't as much drama as the previous episodes, but it was still kind of a lot going on.
Yes, we have a lot that we're going to be breaking down, and we also have our boss of the week, and we love when you guys weigh in. So if you want to comment, if you want to tweet us, if you want to DM us, however you want to get us your boss of the week, let us know so that we can shout you out on this show. Let's just kick it off with this store opening. So obviously the finale is the opening of Uncommon James, and this week we got to see all of the prep work. We got to see all of the shipments finally coming in. We see Kristin looking very fab. I mean, I'm really impressed that she was like ready to launch her book while preparing to open up this store. I mean, they had some really dope pieces. Brittney, do you feel like the staff is ready for this opening, or do you feel like they need to do some more prep work?
I think they need to do more prep work. People just these days ask all kinds of crazy questions, I feel like.
Is this organic?
Is this organic?
Is this gluten-free?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like you can never be completely ready with the amount of questions people can ask these days about products.
Can I use these measuring spoons with my gluten-free flour, or is that going to screw up my celiac disease?
There's not that many items in the store, so for them not to know what they're made of, that's unacceptable. And I know that, these are young people that she's hiring to, work in the store.
No excuses.
But in any retail job, and I worked retail my whole life, all through high school and college, you always know your product. They teach you. They make sure you know your product. So they weren't properly trained, or they just didn't retain information.
I think it's a little bit of both, but at the same time, like, look, if you are working for somebody like Kristin Cavallari, if you know you're going to be on camera, if you know that there's like a big grand opening of a store, like this isn't Nordstrom where you have 3 different floors and it's a department store with multiple items. Like, this is a small boutique shop
Absolutely,
in Nashville.
right.
Like, you have no excuse not to know the products. You have not, I mean, if you don't even know the quality, like what type of wood the spoon is, like...
It's bone and it's covered in something.
It was hand dipped in something.
But it's definitely organic. Like, no, come on, like, know what wood it is. Like, come on.
I wonder if it's because it was the first time they saw the products, because they had just came in. They came in pretty late, like close to the store opening. I don't know.
Regardless if it's Kristin Cavallari or not, if it's the boss walking in and you're doing your first run through with the boss, like, you better pretend this is your final in college and, like, this is the grade you need to get your degree. Like, this is your job. And I think, you know, we need that work ethic more. And if you're not in it, then, like, girl, bye. Bye, Felicia. We don't need that type of work ethic around here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would be more prepared if Kristin came in, Susan. Like, if you were working for Kristin.
Yeah, and even, she knew there was bone, and she knew that there was some type of metal or whatever. But my problem is, like, even if you don't know exactly, be confident and don't say what you don't know to the boss. You know what I mean?
I completely agree.
There's a way to play it off.
Yeah.
Like, look, you're not going to know everything. You're not going to know exactly what the distributor was and from what country every single product came from. Naturally. And people are going to throw you some really wacky, crazy, like, it's not LA where people are a little pretentious. It's Nashville where we have a little more leniency. But, like, you're going to want to be prepared. And I feel like there's a way to play it off, especially in retail. Brittney, I feel like Kristin came in, like, as a real boss. Like, I loved that she did a test run. Do you feel like working with Kristin would have been a little intimidating, or it, would have been motivating to really make sure you executed enough?
For me, it would have been motivating to make sure that I knew everything, and I'd want to kill it in front of her. I definitely, and again, like Susan said, if I didn't know the answer, I would have played it off and sold the product in a different way. Totally just kind of, she made it so obvious, the girl on the floor, that, what was it? I don't know, but it's organic. I would have never said I don't know.
But I will say, it was good that Kristin gave them that trial, because, I mean, it was better that she made those mistakes with Kristin versus a customer coming in the store. Right. So, I mean, maybe the customer wouldn't have asked the same questions, but she just wasn't confident in her presentation, and I probably would have walked out. Even if I was thinking about buying something, I wouldn't have felt good about buying it from her. If the salesperson knows what they're talking about and can at least give you confidence in what you're buying and what you're spending your money on, you buy.
Absolutely. And I also feel like, especially from Kristin's point of view, like, when you're a celebrity and you're running a brand, and especially when you're launching either a new collection or a new store, like, you're going to have a pre-press launch. You're going to have something where there's going to be a blogger or somebody within the traditional press that are going to come in and, look, I'm sorry, but they're going to play devil's advocate, and they're going to look for a headline. They're going to look for something that's wrong. So you have to be on your A game. Absolutely. And look, that will be the stories. Kristin Cavallari's staff doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't know what they're talking about. And even though 90% of the staff is on and ready, they're going to pick that one girl that didn't know, the one question, or couldn't answer the one question that you asked. That's true. I feel like you have to be ready for anything.
That's true.
But that's life. I mean, that's a good lesson for life.
Yeah. Hashtag life lessons on the Very Cavallari After Show. And speaking of life lessons, one thing that you're going to want to do is subscribe to all of our AfterBuzz TV YouTube channels. Am I right, Brittney?
Yes, you're right. Our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there's no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel, and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you guys for weighing in every week. Thank you guys for helping us land great guests like Brittney. Like, we love this show. We know you love this show, and there are so many other shows on this network that we know you're going to love. So hit that AfterBuzz TV reality TV channel on YouTube. Subscribe right now, because you're not going to want to miss us. Next week is the finale, guys.
I can't believe it went so fast.
So fast. We're on episode 7 now?
That's crazy.
We have the last episode. They need to come back for season 2. We need to put a change.org petition together this week to make sure they come back for season 2.
Or at least a a reunion show, or do some type of reunion where they have.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, absolutely. We can moderate. We can moderate the reunion show, because I feel like we haven't gotten enough of the Canadian, and we need more. So we need a whole other season, because today we saw him come back for the second date. He flew back to the U.S., back to Nashville. I feel like that's a mission. To fly from Canada to Nashville. We're not in Washington or New York where we're bordering it. That's quite a mission.
It is. I'm starting to question his intentions now that he came back.
Camera time.
I mean, yeah, I just feel like she could have gone to visit him at some point. It seems like he's just making it a point to come here. And I don't know if you guys heard when Kelly was like, remember when I asked you who your celebrity crush was? And he said Kristin.
That's awful. That's the worst thing he could have said, and he said it. Which says that he doesn't really care what Kelly thinks about him.
I think so too. That's very telling. He could have said any celebrity, and he says the girl that's Kelly's best friends with. That's so
friends
crazy.
That happens to be a celebrity that they happen to be filming a reality show for.
Yes.
My BS meter is through the roof.
Oh yeah, definitely. And to get to meet Jay Cutler, I think he would have BS'd his way to that as well.
I love how he invited him to the cottage, and they were like, cabin for us, but cottage for you.
Totally. Do we see a future with a Canadian and Kelly?
No. She's already questioning the long distance aspect of it, and it's not there. The energies are low. It just feels very it was a little fling. It was a little fun fling.
But it wasn't even a fling, because they haven't even had sex yet.
But they have now.
They have.
They have now. Yeah. I mean, we know they have now because she was her grandma knows, her mom knows, everybody knows. And so that was interesting too, because she said, she knew, okay, let me just say, I understand that he's in another country and there's logistics or whatever, but when you are into someone, you make all that stuff go away. And she wasn't feeling him either. They weren't feeling each other, but I
think they were caught up in the reality show storyline, and that we've talked about this on camera. The production crew is willing to film it. Let's continue to keep this going. But if you're not, it sparks making out on camera within the second date. After the second date, there's not much there.
I felt like there was more of a bromance with Jay than there was anything with Kelly.
I agree. This relationship is just this lack of relationship, I should say. I think it's just going to fizzle out. I doubt we'll even see anything in the finale.
I thought it was funny when Jay said it was selfish of her at this point. And he kind of switched it. He was like, it was selfish. But then he was like, okay, let me clean that up a little bit. He's like, oh, because she brought him here and all that. But I feel like he said it was selfish because he actually liked him. Jay liked someone.
I feel like the show paid for his flight, too.
Yeah, the production covered the Airbnb last time. The flight this time. Airbnb covered, the production covered a lot of the expenses, and I'm sure he wasn't hating it. He's like, sure, I'll fly to Nashville to film a second date. Why not? I don't think he's really that into her, though.
No, not at all.
Maybe he was beginning, okay, so the first time, remember, I was so adamant. I was like, no, he didn't like her, and he was too into himself. Okay, but I feel like this time, he was the one that was warming up to her, and she was the one who was standoffish and not feeling him. Because even when he said, well, keep the t-shirt, that I'll make sure that you bring it back to Toronto or whatever, So I think it was at least trying to keep it going. I don't know if it was for the right reasons, but he was definitely trying to keep it going.
We haven't heard anything. We haven't seen them doing cute couples goals on her Instagram. None of that has happened. So I think it's fair to assume it didn't take off.
I think Kelly's dating pool with all the country guys, country singers and all the people that she has access to, the Canadian was just fun.
I think so, too.
The Canadian was fun. He was nice. He's Canadian, and everybody apparently in Canada is nice and super sweet. They have manners, which we don't have here in LA. There's a little bit chivalry, so if that's what she was seeking, she got it for a minute. But I think she needs to pull up her Bumble profile and start finding some better matches.
Those Southern guys, though, in Nashville, they're all super sweet and gentlemen and have manners and all those things that.
Yeah.
I think
guys
she just
don't
needs to
have
get
here.
out more. She needs to get out more and be seen. I mean, that was the first time she had walked into Kristin's store. It's like, does she not get out? How is this your first time in Uncommon James?
It seems like she works a lot, because even when they were talking about Kristin's wedding, she was able to go to the ceremony but not able to go to the reception
Right.
because she had to work, and then she was on her way to go, we would assume Dirks Bentley, how many Dirks are there? She was on her way to work with him when she was leaving the store, so
Right. I feel like she needs, like, the smart thing to do when you're, like, really busy and you don't have a lot of time to date and you travel a lot is, like, have a guy in every city. So now
I
she
love
has
this.
she has her Canadian if she ever needs to go to Canada. But, like, you maybe get, like, 1 to 2 hours to yourself when you travel for work. Like, you know, you can fit in a guy at
so
that
you
point.
want her to date like a man, basically.
Yeah.
Kelly should date like a man.
Look, I think if guys get to have fun, why shouldn't women get to have fun as well? Like,
Ooh, I love this.
Get in your dates, make him buy you dinner, make him buy you wine, make him do whatever he needs to do to satisfy all your needs when you're in town. Like, look, when you're traveling for work, the cortisol levels are high. You need somebody to cut your stress out.
I think you just came back from a trip.
Yeah, Chicago.
I came back from
Do you have something to tell us?
I wasn't here last week because I had to take a last minute red eye out to Chicago, and let's just say I got all my cortisol levels out in between work. It was a very quick trip,
I think I'll be taking off next
but
week.
I'm gonna be DMing Kelly some tips.
Yes, you shall.
Yeah, if you have Tinder Pro, then you can swipe in different
You said
cities.
Tinder Pro?
Tinder Pro, then you choose which city you're going to be swiping in. So you like give yourself
I
at
line
least
them up ahead of time.
72 to 48
Only
hours
person in
to start
America
swiping
who's
yourself
not
out.
on Tinder. Like, literally, I have not even seen what it looks
What time
like.
is it? It is 9:30. By midnight, you will be on Tinder. Where Brittney and I can set up your profile. We're going to make sure you're not left high and dry like Kelly tonight on the show. Like, I like Kelly. She's like a boss lady. She's, you know, equally on Kristin's level, but she's also single, and I feel like she needs to put herself out there and, like, date.
Yes.
The Canadian was, like, a nice trial run, but she needs, like, a guy in Nashville that can be there. You want a guy that you can come home to.
Exactly. I mean, doesn't Jay have someone he could set her up with? I mean,
Jay has a guy he can come home to.
He needs to
about
get
that.
some of his guy friends out for Kelly.
Yeah, Jay, I'm sure, has friends. That's the best. When
But
you have a
he's
friend
not
refer a
messy.
friend.
I don't feel like Jay would set her up with anyone because he'd be sort of responsible for it. And you don't want
that's true.
You don't want your friend and your wife's friend to not like each other.
That's true. That's true. You want to make
can
sure
be
there's like an
risky.
equal balance. You want to make sure at the dinner table that everything is, you know, it's not Real Housewives. We don't need drama. We don't need tension. We just want like a good night as adults. Speaking of good nights as adults, Kristin had a few good nights in New York. We got to see her travel out. We got to see her do her whole press junket. I was surprised that we got to see a lot of her interviews and that the hosts were like willing to film for the reality show while she was promoting her book, True Roots. I have a copy. I loved it. I need to make more of the recipes.
What's your favorite recipe?
I haven't made too many of the actual dinner dishes. I made a couple of the cocktails. I love the dressing recipes because I just make them and they're like kind of set for the week. I'm boring.
nice.
I'll do like
No,
salads
that's
all day
awesome.
long. So when I can like do a fun dressing, it's good. But she has good margarita that I will recommend.
I need a good
in True
spicy
Roots.
marg.
Yes.
Yes. I don't have that book. I don't know why I skipped out on that one, but I did read Balancing in Heels, and I loved that book. So that was
was
her
a-
first book.
It was a good book. Have you read Balancing in Heels
I
by
have
True Roots?
not. No.
I want like a dishy memoir or like something from her that like
yes.
really
I
kind
bet
of
that's
spills
next.
the tea. I hope so.
I bet that's next. I feel
not-
like she has so much to spill.
Not that I don't love all these lifestyle guides, but I feel like you're right, Brittany. There's some tea to spill.
I was going to say, I don't want her to. I want her to keep us just on the edge where we are right now, where we feel like we know what's going on in her life and we feel like we know the real Kristin, but I like how she keeps certain things private, you know, like with her kids and all that. I just feel like sometimes people are overexposed. She's not.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to be.
Like a first date. Like you put some of it out there, you unbutton one button, but not all the buttons.
And it all goes back to dating.
you wait until the third date to take all the buttons off. I love it. No, I like that we got, I mean, I think that it's so interesting to watch the the different aspects of her life. We see her launching the book. We see her being somewhat more of a wife than a mom because her kids are so private. And we have the store opening, and I think she really has to rely on her staff and really trust them, which I think is challenging as a boss.
Yeah, I don't know how she does it all. I mean, we don't even see her handling her kids at any point or raising her kids, and I feel like she seems so busy all the time. I can't imagine, like, I just don't know what that woman runs off of. She says she could just, like, flip a light switch and be going, so it's kind of bizarre. She's like on the go.
Yeah, we see her. Yeah, I think she was on so on point, like you mentioned, with like she has so much to do and so much to travel. When she needs to turn it on, she can like turn it on for like that 5 minutes that she's in that interview. And she got like big press. I mean, congrats to her. She hit number 3 on the bestseller list.
Which is awesome.
And
hard to do. And she beat Giada because they said she was the number 3 in the top cookbook. Mm-hmm. I love Giada. Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody loves Giada. And for her to...
She beat Whole30.
That's a huge deal. Huge deal.
And the show wasn't even airing then. So this was literally like hard promo on her own.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So good for her. I mean, and now her store is sold out. Like, there's very little to no merchandise left in Uncommon James at the moment. Like, she's killing it.
I was going to say, I love the congratulatory cake that the kids and
so
Jay
cute.
made.
Cute.
But he's even competitive with the kids. Did the kids help? I'm like, a little bit.
I love how Kristin's been so authentic through this all. She's not just one of those celebrities that was like, woke up one day and was like, okay, I want to write a cookbook. Like I've been following her on Instagram forever. When she was back in the Chicago home, she was always showing on her Instagram stories, cooking different recipes and different healthy things for the kids. And she turned that into a book, which is very authentic, as opposed to just getting fame and then, okay, what else can I do with this fame?
Yeah, how can I capitalize off of it?
And maybe that's the new model, too. She made it to number 3. Yes, she had some really big interviews, but I'm sure her followers were the people who bought the book.
Yeah.
Or who are buying the books.
Yes.
And the fact that she's been off TV for so long, like that's a testament. The fact that she can even still have, and this was before her reality show, like she was able to still carry that. It's funny, I was listening to an interview that Spencer Pratt did this morning, and he co-starred on The Hills with her and his wife Heidi, and they're really close now, but he was saying, like, if you're not on TV anymore, like, you don't have a platform, you can't sell anything, like, it's really challenging. So the fact that she was able to open a store up in Nashville, the fact that she was able to sell out of her jewelry and her home goods collection and hit number 3 on the New York Times bestseller, in addition to being a mom, like, she doesn't have to work.
Right.
Like, she doesn't have to do it. Like, her husband's good. He's set, like, you know, Jay is Jay Cutler, like the football player, like he's solid.
Exactly. I mean, she's always been authentic and honest. I think that goes a long way. And like Susan said, she keeps certain things private and people respect that. And that makes her more relatable than these celebrities that put everything out there because it's just not a realistic lifestyle. And so I think the fact that she keeps things private, certain things, she's just always been very honest. And so her followers follow her and like her.
Appreciate that, yeah.
They support she could come out with anything and I would support it.
Yeah.
She could start selling footballs. I'd buy one.
No, I love it. And then this episode, we also saw Mike getting ready to propose to Taylor.
Yeah.
It's like going ring shopping. He's talking to Shannon. He's like trying to make sure this is all perfect for her. Do we think we're going to see a proposal by the end of the season?
I think we will, but I want to ask you guys, what about the price of a ring? What is like, what do we think about the prices of rings?
So I worked in jewelry. Some of my retail experience was in jewelry. And they made a formula that was supposed to be 3 months salary. So whatever 3 months salary is for you is what you're supposed to spend on this ring. Like that's what they guilt the guys into doing. We don't know what he does for a living, so maybe that's not an incredible amount of money to him. However, for me looking at that amount of money, like it was ridiculous. It was, and we know this was something that wasn't planned. She became pregnant and he decided to propose. So this was something he just like on a whim, and he came up with $25,000. I'm like, so he must have. We need to know what Mike's doing.
Well,
What
they
is Mike
said that he was leaving in a few days to go on tour with Luke Bryan.
Right.
He's the videographer for Luke Bryan.
So yeah, 3 months salary for him. Yeah.
So that might very well, if he's getting put up while he's making that kind of money, I mean, he could very well be making that kind of money, but it just seemed like very over the top. I don't know if I would want a ring that expensive. I don't know if I want that responsibility.
I was like, speak for yourself,
Can you
Brittany.
put it on layaway?
I don't know.
Make payments. Like, how are we doing? Like, especially with a quickie proposal like that. I also would like want somebody to put like thought into the proposal, not like you're pregnant and I have to leave on tour in a few days. Like, let's make this happen.
I know. I didn't like how that aspect
Rushed
of
it
it
was.
just felt very
here,
rushed.
I was gonna say, but we had this conversation kind of when we talked about Jay and Kristen's proposal.
Right.
I feel like it's the right thing to do. If you know that you're going to marry this person eventually, and you guys are in love and you're having a baby, okay, it's kind of a formality at this point.
Can we talk about Shannon's math around like equivalating a $25,000 ring to like a really fancy expensive car? I'm like, that's more like a Honda that you can get for like $23,000. Like, if you're trying to get a Maserati, you're not going to get that for $23,000, Shannon. Sorry, sweetie, not going to happen. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, if you want like a modest car, like you can, make it happen brand new for $25,000. But yeah, no, I think she was way off on that one.
She was definitely off.
I think she was too.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to know like what she's actually driving. Somebody needs to like hunt her down on Instagram and let us know what she's driving on the IG story. Okay, shall we give them our boss of the week?
Yes.
Sounds
let's do
good.
Who, Brittany, why don't we let you kick it off? Who was your boss of the week this week?
Okay, I think you guys are going to think this is super unexpected, but it was actually Brittany's mom, Mary, and we saw a little glimpse of her. But I say this because I do believe mom knows best, and I know it's her third time around getting married, which is what Brittany had said. But in all honesty, people may grow apart, but I think it's interesting how Brittany said that she would rather laugh in a box than cry in a mansion. And her mom said, well, you're not doing either of those things. Right. Like, you seem like you've been unhappy for a while. And her mom says she doesn't see sparkles and feels like she's settling. And who would want to be with someone if your mom feels that way about them? I mean, it goes back to mom knowing best, and to not see sparkles and for her to say that she's settling, I think it's very telling.
I mean, by the third marriage, you should have it figured out by then.
Yeah, I think she could recognize that it's not going to work with Brittany and John. But that's just my opinion.
Okay. Brittany, if you're watching,
sorry,
we wish you the best.
I wish you the best.
Susan, how you feeling?
My boss of the week. I'm going to go with Gurney. Because he has had quite a bit of a struggle in, becoming a legitimate country musician. Money has been an issue. He doesn't have a car. He's been living somewhere free doing lawn care or something, and then his girlfriend picks up the slack. So this $5,000 helps anyone, but the $5,000 and winning the contest that will put him in front of all of these prominent country figures. I mean, he basically just jump-started his career. So I'm going to say he's the boss of the week because that's priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the natural decision would have been Kristin, juggling everything, but I feel like that's a little too obvious, and she's like naturally every boss of the week. I think I'm going to go with Mike because he's finally putting a ring on it. Like, he's like, even though I don't agree with the timing and how quickly and like the not reluctancy, but like the feeling of like, okay, this is the right, I have to do this versus I love her and I want to do this. I feel like he's at least like, this is him making a step towards stepping up for his soon to be family and like being there for Taylor.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I'll give it to you, Mike.
I think they were all good choices.
Yeah,
I liked
agree.
Mary too. I would love to have seen more of her too.
Yeah, after hearing your argument, I was like, damn, I think I want to be Mary. And John, yeah, he's really stepped up this week. I think we had some very good bosses of the week this week, and now we need to get into some news and gossip.
Ooh, let's hear it.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, Susan, break it down for us. What do we got?
Okay. Do you guys recognize this music? It's from The Crying Game. Do you remember that last scene? All right. So according to cheatsheet.com, their title of their article is Very Cavallari Fake. And they give some reasons for why they feel like the show is fake. And if you recall, Kristin has been doing a lot of press saying that, her time on Laguna Beach and the Hills had a lot of things that were kind of manufactured.
Right.
So she said that that's something she would not do on her own show, and she'd make sure it wouldn't happen, being one of the executive producers. So here's what Chicago Tribune is what they did the sleuthing, and then Cheat Sheet put it all together.
Okay.
All right. So the timelines don't match.
Oh, okay.
They found out that Taylor Monaco was already engaged before they went to Florida, which wasn't well hidden. Apparently, we all missed it. She was wearing an engagement ring in Florida.
Oh, interesting. Now I want to hear that. Okay. I'm living for this news and gossip right now.
Yes.
Okay.
And so she revealed her proposal on May the 7th, 5 days before the Florida trip. So it was revealed.
This is some good detective work.
Yes, wow. And I'm like, these people are actually like going through, looking at all their social media.
These are still real things that happen. It's not like she didn't get proposed to at all.
Right.
And then the newspaper pointed out that Kristin Cavallari traveled to New York after the store opened to promote her True Roots cookbook.
Interesting.
It came out on April the 3rd. Her publisher announced on April the 16th that the book was on the New York Times bestseller list. And of course, you all know that all happened tonight on the show, and they're acting like it's all before the opening of the store. So here's my thing. I was being dramatic, and I asked for the song, The Crying Game music, but I feel like it's much ado about nothing, because they don't have a live stream going, and they have to have, the story producers have to be able to make hour-long shows. So you kind of package each episode so that you can air it for 1 hour, a neat package on e-television. You know what I mean? So I feel like they want it so desperately, because Kristin said, I'm not going to have anything fake on my show. It's going to be authentic. They want it so desperately to find something that wasn't authentic.
Right.
That they went in with the timeline.
I mean, and we talked about this earlier on the show. Like, the press is going, when there's a celebrity involved, like, the press is always going to find a way to twist it to not be, to make the agenda that they're trying to reach, to get the clickbait. And, like, I think with any reality show, the timeline is always not going to be exact. It's not going to be perfect. Like, they have to make a season, they have to manufacture it into different episodes. That doesn't mean that these pieces didn't happen.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It just means that they didn't happen within the exact time that they were filmed in.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It's a cheap shot. I mean, that's like a red carpet when they show a bigger celebrity than somebody else, but that person already walked. We saw them on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the order. It doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It happened.
Of course.
It's just the order.
Yes. Yeah.
So it doesn't make it fake. It just makes the timeline a little different.
Absolutely. But it does change things. If we think about the fact that Taylor announced her pregnancy to everyone in Florida, but she was already engaged, and I'm sure somebody noticed the ring. So I'm sure there are certain things that were edited out, or things that they didn't discuss.
Right.
But again, unless it's a live stream for 24 hours a day,
which nobody wants to see. Nobody wants, like, that's boring.
Like, boring.
Like, we get the highlights, the recap, and look, they do the grunt work of putting it together in a pretty package for us.
Yes.
That's actually entertaining.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Okay, so our next news story, Miss Lo Bosworth. This one is according to the Ashley's Reality Roundup.
Okay.
Lo Bosworth said she would never do a show like Kristin Cavallari's show, Very Cavallari, says reality TV perpetuates a culture of drama. So,
you know what? Lo Bosworth is such a damn hater. Lo Bosworth is like, who even remembers her on the Hills right now? Exactly. Literally who? She is trying so hard to stay relevant. She knocked the Hills reunion. She knocks Kristin. Like,
what is her problem?
Literally, girl, what? Like, get a new hobby that doesn't involve you slamming people in the media. Okay,
She could
Susan, finish.
She could be taking this energy and like doing something with it. Like come out with something like all the other girls have done. She
But
could stop doing
Exactly.
anything.
in case you didn't know that she was expressly talking about Very Cavallari, she stated that shows that are about businesses especially are bad.
Why? Like literally, like
Really, her stuff is selling out in her business.
Listen, Lo Bosworth, if you're watching, which I don't believe that you are, but you may have some time right now because you don't have a real job. When you run a real business and you're on reality TV, like then you can talk to the press. But until then, like nobody even remembers you on the hills. Like stop trying to stay relevant, girl. Like. Lauren Conrad can come up and knock Kristin Cavallari, and I'll give Lauren Conrad props. But like Lo Bosworth has a blog. Bye.
I mean, Kristin Cavallari, obviously it's good business and it was smart considering she sold out of everything at her business.
New York Times bestseller. Her store is sold out. Her collection is selling out online.
I think
like
Lo is just mad that she's on a 6-week waiting list for the measuring cups.
completely.
Wow, that's funny. You guys are going in on her.
I mean, because it's like literally Lo was like a secondary
Low.
cast member. Lo was low on the cast on the hills. Like she didn't have anything until Lauren launched the show and until Kristin came up and revived the show. So to knock that, like, find your place, girl.
But she's even holding out. This you told me this part. She's holding out. She's not going to be a part of the reunion.
Yeah, so tomorrow supposedly the Hills cast is going to reunite at the MTV VMAs in New
Is
York.
are the VMAs tonight or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, so apparently Lo isn't going to be there.
Okay.
And that's according to E! Online.
Well, Spencer and so I had Heidi on my podcast. I have a podcast called #NoFilter, and I had Heidi on the show, and I asked her about Lo, and she's like, one, Lo was barely even on the show, and like two, working on the revival that everybody's trying to plan. It's just a matter of coordinating. She's like, nobody even asked Lo to be a part of the revival. Like, why is she even?
She's not going.
That's why she's bitter about it because she wasn't even asked.
She's a holdout,
to
and
do
no one
it.
asked her to come.
Nobody asked her to do the show.
She's acting like it was her choice to sit out, but you didn't get asked to go.
Literally, nobody asked her because, like, Spencer is literally the one that's trying to coordinate all of this.
Then, right? we're all holdouts.
Guys, there was a fourth panelist on the show that was holding out right now.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, and our last story. This one kind of bookends our first news segment when we looked at the house that they're selling.
Yes. Now we have the new
we
house.
have a house that they are buying now.
Ooh.
This is according to Realtor.com. They went through and did all of the research, and they have an exclusive of what their new home, their forever home, is going to look like.
That house
and
is massive.
The area is called Highbrow Hill, which is kind of funny because, they're very literal in Nashville, apparently.
So Lo will not be anywhere near this.
And it's only good grief, only $4.23 million. It has a mudroom, and the mudroom was like huge.
What is a mudroom?
That's when you first walk into
Too
your house.
highbrow for me.
Oh my gosh. And you have places to put your boots or your dirty shoes or coats, umbrellas, all that good stuff. But it had a huge mudroom, a copper tub in the master bedroom, double showers in the master bedroom. It's super cute. And, we saw the hen houses and all that stuff outside.
Huge
there's a
windows.
stable
Oh my god.
and a little barn for the goats.
I mean, this is pretty smart on their end. You're getting a bang for your buck in Nashville. Like, what would this be in Los Angeles? A little condo.
Yeah.
Oh, completely. Such high ceilings, like giant windows, like hardwood
gorgeous.
floors throughout. That is gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
If you get a chance, look at Realtor.com and look at all the pictures. It's amazing.
And when we say, if you have a chance, we're talking to Lo Bosworth because this is what you could afford if you had a real business, girl. Get with it.
She's holding out on the real business, too.
She's holding out on the real business. And on that note, let's run some predictions for the finale.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Predictions. Brittany, what are your predictions? How is Very Cavallari going to end the season?
I think it's going to end on a high note, obviously, with the store opening. And I'm hoping that maybe there'll be an announcement shortly after for season 2.
Ooh.
Nice.
Susan, what do you think is this big drama that we saw teased this week? Like, somebody screwed up Kristin's, legacy right now.
Well, that was Shannon.
Shannon,
I think
yeah.
we pretty much figured out that she didn't focus on the home good lines, or she didn't highlight the home good lines. She only did the store opening because it was supposed to be two separate things.
Right.
So, she dropped the ball.
Shocker.
Shocker.
We invited her to come on this show too, and she didn't.
But I'm hoping in this last episode that Brittany will ice everybody out of her relationship with John, because only she knows what's going on in her relationship with him. And I feel like with Taylor being proposed to, and you remember she cried.
Yeah.
I know you feel good and you feel happy for your friends, but that cry, I think, was a little bit more of, what about me? When is it going to be my turn?
Right.
So hopefully my prediction is that Brittany will be secure in her own relationship, which I think we already know she is, but that she'll be secure in her own relationship so that she's not looking so much externally in her relationship, and that she'll continue to be the boss in the store, which she appears to be.
Yeah, I think Brittany's got it down. I think we're going to have a successful store opening. Obviously, it wouldn't be successful if we didn't sell out of everything, which we now know in
Yes.
present time. I think the screw up is going to fall back on Shannon. We saw her with tears in this week's previews for next week. I think, I think Kristin may be slightly dramatic with whatever the drama was, but obviously warranted when you have a business and like you're launching something. And again, you're a celebrity and you have the microscope on you and people are just willing to find what's wrong. So props to you, Kristin. Props to your whole team. Obviously, you executed it, and we can't wait to watch it actually come to fruition. Thank you guys for tuning in and joining us all season long. I know we have one more episode, but it's been such a fun time coming in and breaking down Very Cavallari every week. And if you want to keep up with me, I'm Zack Peter, and you can follow me at JustPlainZack. Go to justplainzack.com. You can check out my interview with Heidi Montag very soon. Susan, where can people keep up with you?
Susan Pinckney, SUZQ 90210, Susie Q 90210.
And you can find me at fitbritla_ and check out my blog, fitbritla.com.
Yes. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.